Hey, everybody, come on in this space. Come on in this space. Come on in this space. All right. Hey, everybody, come on in. Come on in. I thought I was through because I did all the stuff that I needed to do earlier today. I thought I was through, but duty call, and I've got these amazing young people um, that I've been hanging out with for the last couple of weeks. Let me get my Facebook, let me get my IG folks in here. Get my IG folks in here. And all the young adults in the waiting room, just mute your phone. I'll mute you. And you can't have two devices on. Hey, everybody. Hey, Sherade, it's a victory day. What's up, you guys? What's up? How's everybody doing? Uh, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. And yep. Give us 1 minute. Let me make my adjust all my stuff. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We decided to have a conversation with some young people. Those of you in the waiting room, if you mute your phone, okay, mute your phone. If you're coming in, mute your phones in the waiting room. Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us today. I normally have this meeting with some amazing young people. I call them the young millionaires, and just amazing young people. And we get together every Sunday at 5 o'clock to just talk about strategies and all those things. And I thought, with everything that's happening today in the world, with all the situation, that we would interrupt our regularly scheduling program because we know what's going on in the world. So everybody knows. I don't have to tell you all the situation that happened a couple of weeks ago with George Floyd, and from that moment on, we had to deal with some protests and thing. And I got this young man I love dearly. I call him Mo. What's up, Mo? Let me unmute you so they can hear you. What's up, Mo?
Hey, Dr. Jazz, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much. How you holding up?
Can't complain. Just another day. It's the victory day.
Oh, yes, it is. And Mo, thanks for joining me to have this candid conversation of what's happening. So, first of all, where were you? Did you see the video of what happened with George Floyd?
Yes, ma'am. I did see the video.
Yeah, and when you see the video as a black man, Mo, you from where? Sierra Leone?
Yes, ma'am.
How long you been here?
I was born here, so I was born in Jersey City, New Jersey.
Yeah,
But I
and you have a wonderful daughter. How old is she?
have a daughter. She's 6 years old.
And Mo, before we talk about the George Floyd issue, what does it feel like, or how has it? How old are you, Mo?
I'm 34, Pastor.
34. That's a good age, man. And how does it feel, first of all, for the 34 years of since you've been living in this country as a black man, as a young black man?
That's a great question. Obviously, as time goes on, and the more older I get, and the more wiser I get, and the more in tune I get with things, it kind of feels like you can feel a sense of oppression at this stage right now. Just being 34 years old, I haven't really been able to experience many things, especially the riots that have been happening, or social injustice issues. But I was fortunate to actually be living in Baltimore when I was completing my master's at Morgan State, and was actually in the city when the Freddie Gray riots happened. So
Mm.
that kind of hit home too. And just as me, just by study, I got my bachelor's and my master's in sociology. This is what we would call a social problem. And as me being a young black man, is definitely unfortunate that these things can happen. But to be honest with you, it just gets to the point where, you know, when you have an outlast, as you see people do, you see people rioting and looting, it doesn't make it right. But at the end of the day, you got to actually ponder that question. How do you expect people to react when they feel like they have a voice and it's not being heard? So, you know, as a black man, to be honest with you, as I was watching the video, it was disgusting. I had different emotions elicit that came forward. I felt rage, I felt anger, but also, you know, definitely I'll be the first to say it, in a vulnerable state, you know, I kind of felt afraid because what's the
Mm,
difference between me and Floyd? It can just be me and me being an outspoken man. I feel like if I'm in a situation where a police officer pulls me over, like I'm not gonna sit there and just be dormant and just let a police officer, you know, or a person in authority kind of overshadow me if I know I have rights and I know I have rights that I can exercise. So, you know, it's just baffling that here in 2020 you're still going through these type of issues. And honestly, with my opinion, to be honest with you, I honestly think, you know, it's not gonna get better. I think it's gonna get way worse before it gets better, because if you actually think about it, how many George Floyds are out there that don't get seen on the camera? I remember just doing history. I remember the young man Amadou Diallo. You know what happened to him when those police officers rained him down with bullets. Then you think about Sean Bell, who was getting ready to. I think he just got married and he was, you know, going to a bachelor party with some of his bros, and then he ended up getting killed. And you know the Trayvon Martins. I mean, these issues are just so rampant and they're so apparent in society nowadays that I honestly think it's going to take for something significant to happen at a higher level for, you know, decision makers and lawmakers to actually sit there and see, you know what, we actually have to step in and, you know, make a mockery out this situation.
wow. Oh man, Mo, you put out you give a mouthful, and thank you so very much for sharing. You mentioned the whole fact about you felt fear, and what is the fear of being a black man in America? What's the number one fear?
The number one fear of being a black man is that sometimes, I'm not going to lie, you just have the fear of wondering, are you going to see a certain age limit? Are you going to, am I going to be there for my daughter?
Mm,
You know, because that situation, like I said, you know, Dr. Jazz, it could have happened to me or any black person that I know. You know, a simple routine traffic stop can, you know, lead to many things, you know. And, you know, the bad thing about it is that, I mean, let's just be honest, you know, on this platform here, you know, George Floyd may have not had the cleanest of the cleanest record, but at the end of the day, that doesn't make him a threat. But you know, sometimes when I can contextually sit down and think, you know, we as black men, we have to pretty much arm ourselves with our greatest weapon, which is our mind. So we have to
mm,
be able to take control of situations like this moving forward. It's not every time that, you know, we have to think about the relationship between a police officer and, you know, a person that they stop can be synonymous to, you know, as me being a social worker and a client, or you being a pastor in the congregation. You know, at the end of the day, because things happen the way they happen, you know, some officers, you know, they're scared for their lives too, you know. So
yeah,
there has to be a point where we have to meet in the middle and be like, okay, well, you know, I'm coming, you doing your job, and I want to do my job just like you want to go home to your family. I want to go home to my family too.
yeah. Um, Thanks for sharing that, Mo. I'm gonna try to add somebody else in here, and I'm gonna go. I got a lot of young adults in the lineup. Those of you young adults who are on here, raise your hand if you have a son. Raise your hand if you have a son. Okay, okay, Chantel, I'm gonna bring you in. I'm gonna bring you in. Hey, Chantel, how you doing? Okay, I got you. Hold on, hold on. Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear. You know your brother Mo up there.
Hey,
Um,
Mo.
Hey, how you doing, Chantel?
Good.
and so Chantel, you got a chance. I hope to hear Mo. And again, everybody, we are on every platform. We're on Facebook. We on IG. Okay, and so Destiny, you gotta keep your phone muted. All right. So Chantel, Mo talked about, the fact of being a man in America, and you have a son. Where were you when you saw the George Floyd, and how did you feel?
Oh my God. So I was at home when I saw it was just streaming all over social media.
Mm,
And I just couldn't believe it. As a former police officer and a mother of a son,
mm,
it really, I've seen some injustices, and I've had the opportunity to be able to stand it between the officer, like if I'm on a scene or something like that, and say, hey, that's not right. I was definitely the advocate for that. So I felt when I saw that, just with the kneeing on the neck, that's not even in a training. That's, we have a level of force on the police department that we have to follow. It's a pyramid, and it starts with like verbal, command, and then it goes up to your mace, your baton, and then the gun. And
mm,
with the gun, they're all weapons, but with the gun, usually it's two to the body and one to the head. That's how we were trained. So it's not kneeing on the neck and really, really putting, I mean, it
Mm,
was pure, to me, evil.
mm,
So for years, I've always, because of my experience, I've always trained my son and my daughter on what to do when
mm.
in those type of situations.
mm.
Chantel, I forgot that you're a police officer in the DMV. How long have you been on the force? What made it, Mo? How long you been on the force? Or you've been on the force?
Oh my God! So I joined when I was 22 years old. I was
Uh,
in the academy at 22. My daughter was 8 months, and I went in the police academy, and I was on for 8.5 years in DC, and I served, and I did a lot of undercover work. I did drugs. I did a lot of technical things, and I just happened to work with a lot of youth as well, truancy, curfew, and things like that. So yeah, 8.5 years on the police department.
Wow. Well, I gotta ask you a question. I don't want to linger there, but what made you join the police force? If you don't mind me asking, what made you join the police force?
I had the college credits. I was in college. I was in my second year, and I got pregnant with my daughter. Most of you all know London. And when I came home, I had to do something. I was already in school. My major was criminal justice. I wanted to be a lawyer, a contract lawyer. And then that situation happened. Then I said, okay, I come home. I got this baby. I have to do something. The opportunity was there. The money was great. I went ahead and I just did it for my daughter. Yeah.
mhm.
Yep. Yeah. Salary.
Yeah. No worries. And my last question to you, and hey, you guys can put in some questions in the chat. I'm here with my young adults. I call them the millennium, the millionaires millennium,
Uh,
and they are going to change the world. And I'm so glad to have them. Chantal, I know when you saw what this police officer was doing, I just can't imagine as a former police officer, how did you feel? Mo, that would be my question to you.
To Mo or Chantal? Oh,
To
me first,
you.
and then Mo.
Yeah.
So I felt a bunch of emotions. I actually couldn't sleep that night. I couldn't
mm,
sleep.
Mm,
I was like in and out because just to see how his facial, like I just saw his facial expression, and then talk about the other three officers there. They should be accessories. Because we are taught, I don't know about Minnesota and their laws, but we are taught as a police force, if you see something, you have to intervene. Like we can actually arrest another officer. So they didn't. I feel like everybody should be charged seriously with this, because you can't have officers just standing around witnessing, basically basically the breaking the law, or just, it's. And also one more thing, Dr. Jazz, I feel, with the emotion, I feel they need to create a law for police officers in this case,
mm,
all over, everywhere. Like it should be a law for when it should, and hate crime is in it, and they should be charged with hate crime, and they need to be charged with murder, straight up. And it should be at a max of 10 years or more. Yeah, just
mm,
like they do everything else, put in place a clause of law for the police officers, so that. And then another thing, a lot of these officers, they come, what I've dealt with, and I noticed being from DC and having many a family in DC, people coming from different areas, You have this officer from Minnesota, or this officer, they don't
Mm,
know how to deal with us. You
Right.
know,
mm,
everything, you know, we're loud. Everything is a threat. So I remember being a training officer and I have to tell the rookie, hold on, no, don't pull your weapon out. Don't do that. Like, no, he's fine. So they don't
mm.
understand our vibe. They don't understand that everything is a threat, especially when you hear the voice of a black man.
Right.
Wow. Wow. That is so powerful. Not I never even thought about the fact that Mo, just your voice alone and our mannerism, because we, I'm like, I don't
Right.
mean no harm, but I talk with my hands. I talk with all of my facial expression. So they don't teach you anything like that in the academy culture.
They do. They teach you. They teach you culture. They teach you verbal judo. Verbal judo. One thing I will say about Metropolitan Police Department, we are trained very good there. We were really trained. We knew that if we got in trouble, if we did something like that, DC chief is not having your back. But you have those places like Minnesota where it's highly racist, or I'm just saying it's a little bit more of a Caucasian, atmosphere there. Whereas the city,
Right.
you're not going to have. Well, I'm gonna speak on Metropolitan Police Department. We were trained very good that it's very less likely that you would see that because of the training, because DC will put you, they'll lock the officer up. It's no,
Okay.
yeah.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. Hold on, everybody. I got all these
Yeah.
young people down here. I'm gonna be bringing them in. Just sharing. For a minute. Let me add another brother in this conversation. Kevin, I'm bringing you in. Let me see if I can bring you in this conversation. Okay. All right. Hey, Kev. Okay, hold on, Kev. Let's make sure we get. Hey, Kev.
Hello.
We love you. We see you in the dark room.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't know why it's dark. I'm like, I
No,
see
no
it. It
worries.
just
But we can.
let
There
me
you
see,
go. But
let
we
me see
can.
if I can change the resolution here. Hold on.
Okay, all right, all right. Again,
Ooh,
everybody,
make it any
I'm just
better.
having some conversation with my young adults. We meet every Friday, every Sunday at 5. I love you, Kev. You look like you're in the graveyard, going in and out. I'll come back and get you in a minute. Jessica, I'm gonna bring you in. Here we go, Jessica. I'm gonna bring you in for this conversation with me. All right. Hey, Jessica, how you doing? Wait a minute. Sorry, better unmute you. Hey, Jessica, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Dr. Jazz. How are you?
Good. Hey, Jessica. First of all, how old are you?
I'm 34.
34. Same. Okay. So, Jessica, how did you feel when you saw what you saw that happened in Minnesota with the killing of George Floyd?
Honestly, it's kind of a feeling of just it's just another incident. It's the norm. It's become the norm when I can't even really say become because it's always been like this. So it's like a feeling of hopelessness, and then when you have certain leaders that buy into they're not really thinking about us. So
Mhm.
in those situations, it's like you want to have hope. You want to feel like something is going to change, but then every time this down, when this dies down and the rioting stops and the crowd stop, then we just get back to the mind frame of, okay, maybe we have hope, and then it happens again. So
Mm.
it's just honestly a feeling of like, is wondering, is it ever going to change?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's hard to keep, I know, hope alive, or to it's like you make 10 step forward and 25 step uh uh backwards. And
Exactly.
what do you think is the root cause? What do you think is the root cause of all of this?
I mean, just hatred. It's been, from times of slavery. It's just I don't really see how someone's skin color alone, not their character, not the way they were raised, not anything but the skin color, can cause so much outrage and so much hatred for people. But I think it's just underlying hatred that's taught generation to generation. Because people our age, if it wasn't continuously brought down by their parents or their grandparents or whoever the case may be, then it should have stopped. Like it shouldn't get to that point to where we are, and then the younger generation continue to see it, but it's constantly being taught. And me being from Mississippi, That's like the worst, when it comes to reputations for slavery and racism and things like that. You hear about it all the time, but it's just like it's getting closer and closer to home now. So, we've heard it in the past and, in history and things, about situations, but now it's becoming like every other day occurrence, it seems like. So I think it's just the hatred that's being taught down the line.
Yeah, the whole thing you mentioned about Mississippi, the South, not that the North don't have it, but I understand how that absolutely can feel. Kevin, you made it in. Our young adults in the waiting room, make sure your phone is muted so we have a clear line. Okay, I muted y'all, but make sure. Hey, Kev, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Fantastic. You are out of the smoke room. All right.
Yeah, I don't know what
So
was going on with my camera.
no worries. So, Kev, it's been a crazy, crazy, crazy week. And
Absolutely.
where were you when you first saw the video? And how do you process? What was your emotions?
Well, I want to first of all say one thing I didn't do was watch the video. And I say I didn't watch the video because not that I didn't want to be aware of what was going on, but I was afraid that I would react without really knowing everything that's going on. So I tried to stay away from and kind of read up to what was going on and then look at the video. So I kind of looked at the comments that everybody's been saying on social media, and I looked at the video for myself to make my own interpretation. And then now I'm circumventing back to like everything that's going on with all the riots and protests and looting and all that kind of stuff going on. And to me, I'm kind of like I'm kind of having a lot of mixed feelings about it because it's like someone just said a while ago, we go back and forth trying to say, well, why is this happening? Why does this continue to happen? Why isn't it that no one's seeing that this is a repetitive cycle? And where does your existence become a threat? That's like the biggest question for me is the existence. And then let's not even break into the different shades of blackness where you have light skin and dark skin, where it breaks down, oh, this person is more of a threat because of their darker skin versus this person being a threat because they're lighter skin. So I know for me, I have a lot of mixed emotions going on, but I wanted to capitalize off something that was just said with the generational thing. I remember growing up, my grandmother always told me that you have to work extra harder. You already have 2 strikes against you, being a male, being black. Make sure you always say yes, sir, no, sir. When you get stopped by a police officer, make sure you don't have an attitude and different things of that nature, because you just never know kind of like what's going on in the mind frame. And today we see it so prevalent. You can do all those things your parents and your grandparents have told you to do. And it's almost like it seems like it doesn't matter because all that goes out the wayside. If they look at you, if your body language comes off as you're a threat, then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to respond this way. Or if they can see on your face that you look like you're going to cause a harm. And I kind of worry about that for myself because I wear everything on my face. That, what are they going to deter? I could say, hello, how are you doing? And it'd be like, oh, well, you're moving with your hands, let me see your hands and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a lot of mixed emotions. And I think, unfortunately, today, what I think is more needed is a lot more conversation and a lot more of everyone sitting down having a conversation. But more importantly, something I just saw on social media a while ago was like, what's wrong with having the conversations within your own household instead of waiting for somebody else to have the conversation with you? And I worry about that, especially with our young people, because social media and everything is at their fingertips, it's at their hands. You could be learning these things. You don't have to wait for somebody to teach you. But if you, like it was just said, if you grow up in a household where you're taught this one way, or this is how you're supposed to see things, it don't matter what everything else shows you. You're going to go by what you're taught. So, that's where it becomes an individualized thinking. It becomes that my parents told me this, and this is what I'm going to think versus what my friends are telling me I shouldn't think. So I think it's a mixture of a lot of things. And I have a lot of emotions, and it's a very passionate topic. I can go on and on and on. But I think as an African-American male, I just have that burning question that everybody else has is, where did it become that our existence is a threat? We don't even have to open our mouth. Just the existence of us is a threat. So that's where I'm at right now.
Wow. Thanks, Kev.
You're
I'll
welcome.
bring you back in. I got Sylvia. Hey, Sylvia.
Hi.
I got Sylvia because Sylvia, you're studying to be
Well, I'm getting my master's in criminal justice and forensic science right now, and so eventually going to law school next year.
Yeah, and so when you see all that has transpired this past week and the field that you're getting ready to go into, um, does it make you think I need to go into a different career? I need to hurry up. What first of all, how did you feel when you saw what you saw with how George Floyd was treated and eventually killed?
How I saw the video, I saw it on, I watched it on Instagram, and it was like an 8-minute video. And the first thing that I thought about was my nephew, my brother-in-laws, my cousins, and I just wanted to make sure, oh my God, that they were equipped, like their parents, equipped them with what to do, how to do it, and things like that. But in regards to your question, in regards to the field, like I feel like I need to hurry up and go through to make sure that things like this doesn't happen, and it doesn't just take one person, and it takes all of us. And that's why I'm constantly immersing myself, educating myself with the laws of the land. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's so necessary. How old is your nephew?
My nephew, he is 7 years old.
Yeah. And so when you think of your nephew, your biggest fear for your nephew is?
My biggest fear is sometimes because he could be mouthy at times, and so knowing what to say and how to say it, because as the previous people, they see us as a threat, and it can't even be that way. It could be something that's saying good morning or how you doing. It could be taken the wrong way because you use your body language and things like that. So my fear for him is sometimes he could be mouthy, and just knowing what to say and how to say it. So
Yeah. Wow. I appreciate you sharing that. I want to bring on, let me see, I'm going to bring on Destiny. Jesse, I'm going to come back to you. I'm going to bring on Destiny because I think Destiny is a younger person, maybe the youngest in one of the group here. So I'm bringing on Destiny, which is a beautiful name. And let's see. Hey, Destiny, how you doing? I got you. Stay right there. Hey, Destiny.
Hey, Pastor, how are you?
Great. I would say, Destiny, you like the Peter in the group, right? You got a sword in a minute. Destiny is my fighting baby. Uh, so Destiny, how did you feel when you saw this incident?
Well, it actually sparked a couple of different emotions. I actually went to school for criminal justice, but I also interned at the public defender's office where I interviewed a lot of people that had like issues in their lives. There was issues, there was holes, there was voids, and I realized that they lived a life of crime and did like certain things because of these voids, and they were just trying to fill them. So I just wanted to flip my career to help people versus locking them up. And since I've been on that journey, it's just there's so much injustice that I really feel like it started in schools because like let's say if there's 30 kids and there's 30 kids in the classroom, 15 of those kids are 15 of those kids are black and 15 of those kids are white. So and if the conversation comes up about racism or who's like or anything like towards the conversation, the white people are going to look towards the black people as if they were inferior. And this is something that just has just like it spilled out. It started in homes, it started in classrooms, and it just spilled out into America. But it's how do we as people we really get to the point where enough really is enough? Like we when like right now people are rioting and looting and they're doing all of these different things because they feel like enough is enough. But when are we going to get to the point where enough is really enough and that we really take actions towards these things? It's like we can't really go up against the white people, but the way that we can fight them is by keeping our money in our communities. Like the black dollar should keep circulating in these communities so that we don't have to use them as an outside resource. And it's like because clearly we cannot be allies and we cannot work together. So we until we can work together, how do we bridge that gap?
Wow, Destiny, you said, said a mouthful. How old are you? How old are you, Destiny?
I'm 29.
29. And have you ever experienced racism or injustice? Because I know.
Well, I went to school in Dover, Delaware. So Delaware is like, and my school is on Route 13. So one day I was walking down. Me and my friends, we were walking across the street to the mall, and some people were really riding past and was just like, I don't, excuse my language, look at those niggers. So that was like a real experience for me. So since then, it's just like it I have to find a way to not feel inferior to them. We have to take back our inferior and making them superior. It's just it's that we have to take that back from them, because as truth be told, ever since everything that's going on, how many white people are really speaking up? These riots and these loots and everything that are going on, I believe that they're orchestrated by like extreme groups, like some of the movements that were. I don't think that that these are local people that are rioting and blowing up these neighborhoods and things. I think these are extremist groups that are like, enough is enough, enough is enough. But that's not the way that you get, like, that's not the way that you get your voice out there, because these stores are insured. They're like, downtown DC was rioted last night. This morning, they're working on it. They're putting things back together. These stores are insured, and now it's just like, who really benefits from all of this? Once people go, once things get back into a flow of business, now that things have happened, these stores have been replenished and replaced, but now the workers have to take a pay cut because they still have to get the money back in some type of way. Some people are still losing
Wow.
economically and more.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness, a very mouthful, great observation, Destiny. And I brought back Kevin and Mo because again, looking at it from the eyes of Black men. So before I bring on my other guests, and I have all these young people down here, and I'm bringing them in and out. Kev and Mo, what do you guys as Black men need from Black women at this season, in this season?
That's a good question, Dr. Jazz.
Yeah.
Listening to everyone's emotions and everyone's opinionated. Everyone has the right, objective to be opinionated, and it's so interesting that you say that, because as Black males, I think our biggest enemies are the people that we see in the mirror, which is ourselves. But also, to take it a step further, the Black woman plays a pivotal role in this as well. Not to get into the whole thing of race and racism, but when you look at it, history has shows us that, if we're talking about the Caucasian race, they have feared the Black man. And how do they fear the Black man? They do that by subjecting the Black women and keeping them closer. As you notice with the glass ceiling and everything that we got going on, a person that she passed away, but I read a book in college, The ISIS Paper, by Dr. Frances Scott Welsing. And, she would talk about, the inferiority complexes and, the superiority complexes. This is what Destiny was saying. But, I think what we have to do is we have to go back to the beginning and start as a cohesive unit again. Because if we can go ahead and start looking out for each other, we don't have to worry about, what's going to happen out there. I think we put too much emphasis on white and Black. And I think we have to stop doing that. We have to put the emphasis on ourselves first. We have to be able to take full accountability of everything that goes on. I mean, at the end of the day, what we have to realize is that, we would give less money to the prison industrial complex if we stop going out here and trying to take shortcuts and take the easy route. And if we just go and do things how it needs to be done by the book, less and less of our youngins will stop getting locked up. But to answer your question, Dr. Jazz, I think, we have to have these, intimate conversations, with one another, with the Black man and the Black woman, to find out how we're going to be able to get to a solution. Because if not, it's just going to be a repetitive cycle over and over, and nothing's going to change.
Wow.
Yeah, he said it best. I don't have too much else to echo on that, but I do think it's important that, like I said, we have those conversations and we don't be afraid to be vulnerable and to really speak what we need, because a lot of times, there's that tough exterior that has to be put up. We don't really show a lot of emotion, or if we show too much emotion, then the masculinity is challenged and all that kind of stuff. I think especially if you got close people around you, close women that, who know you and can pour into you, you can be a lot more vulnerable than you are with women that you don't know. So I think just understanding that as a whole, it's like, we wear a lot of our emotions on our shoulders. And I think oftentimes that's why you see guys in particular, it always looks like they're slouching, because there's a lot of weight that gets put on the shoulders. So I think, echoing what Mo was saying, and, having those conversations, being vulnerable, putting aside the whole worry about the masculinity thing being challenged, and just kind of saying, I need you to hear me. I need you to support me. I mean, I've seen all these memes, that they, what the Black man needs. And like he said, we already know that back in the day, that's how they kept us in line. They tore down our women. They took advantage of our women. They had babies with our women, and all that kind of stuff. But we can't let the oppressed mentality circumvent and navigate how we deal with things today in the future, because it's just so much more that we need to be aware of. So.
Wow. Hey, Macy, thanks for joining the conversation. How you doing? Oh, let me unmute you. My bag. Hey, Macy, how you doing?
Good. Fine and you, Dr. Jazz?
I'm fine. So tell us where you're from and what do you do? And if you don't mind sharing your age.
I am 36 years old, just turned 36. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, but I reside in Lanham, Maryland right now. And I'm a behavioral specialist.
Wow, a behavior specialist.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean?
So I work with students who are ages maybe 14 to 22, who have really severe behavioral issues. The primary demographic is students who have autism. And so my job is to intervene, make sure that their behaviors are not as severe to the point where they can, hurt people or disrupt people. I have to look at their behavioral plans and make sure that each student their IEPs are together, make sure that their goals are where they need to be, and just making sure that they're sound behaviorally. So.
Wow. So, and thanks for sharing that, and kudos to you. Amazing job you're doing. How did you feel with seeing what has happened, not just in Minnesota? Hey, John, good to see you. I need to be in this Zoom. I got something to say. All right, John, just send something to Chantel and she'll get you in this thing. All right. I'm bringing in the young people in. Hey, everybody, I'm talking to the millennials, the young people. Every Sunday we meet at 5 and we've been talking about money. But today we're trying to process our madness with what has happened. Macy, how did you hear about it, and how do you process it, and what was your first set of emotion?
I found out about it, Dr. Jazz. My cousin had placed a post on her page about this happening, and then I just so happened to be looking on her page, and I ended up looking at the video, very short in the video. And so looking at that video just culminated a mass of emotions for me. I was very upset. I was very hurt that it happened. And just upset that this continues to happen to our African-American people. I just keep saying that it's not right. It's not okay. And it just brought in a flood of emotions for me. I'm constantly looking at the riots and everything that's going on. Like Destiny said, they're rioting right now. And these people are hurt. They're hurt. They're mad. They're upset. And just like I feel. So that's how I've been feeling, Dr. Jazz.
Yeah. And how do you, I'm bringing in Marcia, but how do you process your emotion? That's for you, Mo. Hey sis, how you doing? I love the headband. How you doing?
So
I got you.
okay.
Hey, Lacey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing? Hi,
I'm
Dr. Jazz.
doing fine. Before you guys answer this question, so Lacey, I know you've seen the video and all the things. How have you felt through this?
I'm sorry, he talking to me, Dr. Jazz? Okay.
I can hear
Yeah.
you.
Oh, you can't hear. I'm gonna send you back out. I'm bring you back in. My question was, how do you process the emotion? How do y'all process the emotion? And those of you who are on Facebook, how do you process your emotions? How do y'all process your emotion? I'll bring you in, Chantel, in 1 minute. What do you guys do with your emotion, Mo, and then Macy?
I think for me, it's day by day process. I really have to just sit down and just really think and meditate on everything that's going on right now. I was telling my best friend earlier today, it's like I feel numb. I feel very numb because so much is going on. You know, it's not, it's this, you know, it's, you know, dealing with COVID-19. You know, it's the riots, you know, it's the hatred, it's the anger. And sometimes, you know, Dr. Jazz, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes you kind of feed into it because, you know, we're still human, we're human beings, and we feel,
Yeah.
we have emotions. And so it's like, what do you, even as Christians, you know, we have emotions. And so it's like, what do you do with those emotions? You know, and sometimes they're displaced. And so, you know, for me, you know, again, it's a day by day process. Sometimes I can't even watch the news. I can't even watch the news because it becomes overwhelming for me. And I'm a very emotional person.
Yeah.
And so because I'm a very emotional person, it really impacts me. It really, really does. And so I think, again, it's a day by day process. It's talking to other like-minded people to try to figure out a resolution, and just internally, you know, just trying to process everything myself of what's going on. So.
Yeah, Mo, how do you process your emotion? And I'm gonna bring in my young millionaire, Taco, in a minute. All right, but Mo, how you process your emotion?
Dr. Jazz, it lists two responses for me. To be honest, the first one is sometimes I think about exercising my Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms, because I'm like, at least I should at least have, you know, some form of protection for myself in situations like that. And then there's a second part of me that says, you know, well, Mo, you know, we got to be more realistic with the situation. What would Dr. King do? What would Marcus Garvey do? You know, what would W.E.B. Du Bois do? You know, I sometimes think of, I know I have to play a pivotal role in stepping up all around, you know, and making sure I can be a leader to the ones that's coming up after me, you know, to be able to kind of, you know, have a voice when these injustices go on, you know, because if you take a real look at what's going on, we have no leaders. I mean, who's the voice of the people? No one's there to step up. So at the end of the day, this thing can continue to happen because no one's stepping up. So, you know, it's puzzling, you know, and like I just said, you know, they just got to pray to God and see where he, you know, leads us and what direction he wants us to follow, you know, to get us to a solution with this.
Yeah. Wow. Chantel, how you process your emotion? Taco, I'm gonna try to put you back in. Hold up.
You know, I guess for me, processing my emotions is just pretty much having hope and faith in God and believing in Him and just praying. You know, just keep continually doing. We know evil is around us in all aspects. I mean, so I just kind of just, you know, continually pray, encourage, you know, continually, you know, kind of mimic Christ, mimic God, and still have that forgiveness and love in my being. And just like Mo was saying, you know, the Second Amendment, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go back and get my weapon. I'm sorry. You know, I mean that's just something I believe in at this point, at this time. But yeah, so just pretty much processing my emotion is just pretty much having hope that things will change, they will get better. You know, just being a little bit more positive, even in this situation that we're going through. You know, thinking that, you know, or reflecting and remembering that our ancestors, my grandmother went through it. She's from North Carolina. They went through racism. She had 16 kids, and my dad and everything all experienced the cotton fields and being, you know,
Wow.
so I'm just thankful with the history that I know within my family, and things like that. It just helps me be a better person to my, even to my kids and my son. Definitely my son. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey Taco, what's up? You're always on the move. You're the #1 hustler in America. What's up?
I'm good. How are you today, Dr. Jazz? That's a victory.
Hey, I'm good. I'm just talking. It's a victory day, talking to the young people. We meet every Sunday at 5, and trying to become young millionaire. But this thing out here, we can't just keep our head in the sand. And for you as a young black man, a hustler, and you're as passionate as me when you're talking. First of all, what does it feel like to be a black man at this time in America? And how have you been processing or find out about the incident, the killing of George Floyd and thing? Give me your feed on that.
Yeah, I think I share the same sentiments as the rest of the other black men here in America. That it's like we were born, we're born into sin, but a different kind of in a different kind of way. I think that we have to understand that we always have, like, we have to live our life with one strike against us, and the strike that we have is our skin color, unfortunately. And I think that it's what's going on right now, and what's been happening in the news, and what's happening in the media, and the way that people are responding to this whole thing. I can't say that I disagree with it. I feel like people are frustrated. I feel like a lot of the responses are very warranted. I think that unfortunately the things that we try to do peacefully to speak our voice has been unheard. Martin Luther King said riot is the way, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said that riots is the voice of the unheard. And when you look at anything that this country has accomplished in a large scale, unfortunately most of that stuff came through force. This country was taken from people through force. People, the blacks were brought here to this country by force, and I think unfortunately people feel like they have to use force now to get their point across to create a change. I think that I'm grateful that the guy has been arrested. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the charges, but I think that I think it's a tough time for us right now, and there's no easy way of articulating our frustrations, and so I just think that in today, like, with where we are now, I think everybody just kind of has to do what they can to take care of themselves, to take care of their family, to make sure that they're staying out of things that could cost them losing their lives. I talk to my nephew a lot. He's 18, 19. He's just 18 now. He's moved down here to live with me a couple of years ago, and I told him, I was like, what's happening is wrong. And that you got to figure out a way to fight, and to survive. And it's this whole thing is terrible, and I hate where we are, and I hate that this is happening in the middle of this pandemic. You know what I mean? So those are my thoughts on everything, Dr. Jazz.
Oh, thanks for sharing that. Let me switch a little. Everybody's saying vote is the key. You gotta vote. You gotta vote. I would like to get your generation perspective, and I'll bring in Kevin and the rest. I'll bring everybody in and out. Let me start with Mo. What is your, I hear young people say, voting is a waste of time, blah, 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 blah. Mo, Taco, and Chantel, what do y'all think about this voting thing?
Vote.
I think our generation, they don't believe in voting. They don't even believe in the political process at all. So, at the end of the day, like the last election, I think the majority of, the millennials were the ones that didn't vote because they couldn't, identify with the two primary people who were running, for an election. Now, I guess in retrospect, if you think about times like right now when you can go back, I bet you a lot more people may have voted now. for who they, you know, would have wanted to be president. You know, I voted for Hillary. I didn't want Donald Trump to be president, but I'm not biased that he is president. So, you know, I just think that voting definitely plays a pivotal role in, you know, us being able to be heard. But also we want people that look like us to be able to vote for them, because then we feel like, you know, that person will be able to help us move forward, or at least move the narrative forward.
Yeah. Taco, and then Jessica, tell me what do you believe in the power of voting? And everybody, you can put it again in the chat. Thanks everybody for joining us on Facebook. I'm talking to these amazing millennium. They're not the next generation, they are the now generation, and all of them, you can see none of them are thugs. They're doing their things. They're lawyers and they're hairstylists and entrepreneurs, and you know, in college and going after some major stuff. So I don't know who they're referring to, but I know some amazing young people. So Taco, what do you think about voting? And then Jessica, and then Sylvia.
I think, and I don't want to be insulting to some people that are watching this, but I think that Black folks, especially our generation, have bought into the lie that was told to our ancestors who that fought to be able to vote for us. So for example, back in the day, they were telling when we first were able to vote, they were telling us back then that our votes didn't matter, because they knew that our votes did matter. And if they could train our brains to assume that, well, your vote doesn't matter, it just becomes conditioned, and it kind of perpetuates this inaction that our millennial generation continues to perpetuate today. I think that the biggest lie that was ever told to us as a black community was that our votes did not matter. You never hear white people saying that, ever. You never hear white people saying that. Oh, I'm not going to go vote because my vote doesn't matter. I've never heard a white person say that ever. It's only people in the Black community that believe this lie, you know. And I just think that you know, in order for us to really position ourselves and be able to really make the change and be able to see the changes that we want to see in this country, we gotta step up and participate in every aspect. And one of those aspects has to be voting. You can't be out rioting and be mad and frustrated and making all these Facebook posts and making all these Instagrams posts, and everybody's writing all these songs about change. But then when it comes time to vote, you just want to sit at home. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Like, you should be just as hard as you're going on Facebook and rioting and burning down businesses and all that stuff. And you know, I'm not saying that because I'm promoting any of that. What I'm saying is the reality of this is what people are doing. Right. You can't do all that and then say I can't go turn in my ballot for change. It just doesn't make sense. It's like you're getting in your own way. It's a waste of time. Everything that you've done, you gotta. It's like when I was first doing sales. My first job was a sales job. I only had like 2 jobs, and when I was 19, and my sales manager used to always tell me, the money is in the follow up, right? The money is in the follow up. So you can do all of this other stuff, but none of that stuff matters until you do the follow up action that's necessary, which is going out and voting. And so I think that you know, Black people are in my age range are you know, grossly misguided, and it frustrates me to see that they could put so much energy in everything except for the things that matter the most. And voting, your vote does count. Your vote does make a difference. And if we don't vote, we lose. We'll just be rioting and burning things down forever. You know, that's just where my head is.
Jessica and Kevin, and then I'll bring Sylvia and Macy. Jessica, what's your thought on that voting?
So for me, I agree with Taco. So to me, if you don't vote, then you don't have a right to complain, because you're essentially part of the problem. And then also, I think that it's really important not only that we look at voting in the presidential, you know, realm, but local. You know, that also determines our fate. So I think if you don't vote, then you're part of the problem. You're not giving us any kind of solution. So I think, we have to condition ourselves to get to the mind frame to where we realize that every vote counts, every person counts, everything that we do that we need to do to push forward. We have to start somewhere, and starting somewhere will be starting at the polls. So that's really my thought on it.
Oh, great. Let me switch a little because I want to keep it moving. Kevin and Sylvia, who do you guys look up to as civil rights leaders? Who are your who are you guys pulling on? Because guys are so young. I don't think y'all went around with Dr. King. Y'all might have been still in diapers and Malcolm X and stuff like that. So who is your civil rights? Who's your activist? Who's your generations? Malcolm X and King and Sojourner Truth. Who's yours?
I mean, I was about to say, even though I wasn't around in the 60s growing up, those were my people. But I mean, as I've gotten older, and I'm 37 years old, as I've gotten older, I love the fact of how a lot of our celebrities, like Jesse Williams, in particular, as an African-American or biracial male, that he is on it. I mean, he's using his platform. He is speaking his mind. He's not afraid to let it be known. LeBron James, same way as an athlete. I'm also thinking about just some of our older celebrities, like Denzel Washington and Morgan Freeman and different things of that nature. I mean, these are men who are not afraid of the fact that they're big time Hollywood celebrities making millions and millions of dollars in movies and TV shows, letting it be known that, you're never too old, or you're never out of touch, where you're in this category that you can't stand up for injustice and be willing to speak. So those are the people that I look up to. But definitely a lot of the people today, like I said, Jesse Williams is one of my big ones. Travis, the comedian, Trevor Noah is one of my other ones that I look up to, because I think they're all saying what needs to be said. And it's something I was thinking about as Taco and Mo were talking. We can't be afraid to say the things that we feel, but we have to find a way to articulate them in a manner to where they're not non-offensive. I mean, they're not offensive, and they come off as stern, just as we want to say them. And, those gentlemen, Jesse Williams, Trevor Noah, and all the others that I named are doing it. So those are who I look up to.
So let me move. Sylvia, I'm going to give you another one. So let me tell you guys this thing that I always battle with, because we know we hear about George Floyd and such a tragedy, Trayvon Martin, the list goes on and on and on. And it seems like we know every day this happens, right? Every day this has become a norm. And then we get a hold of something that happened with like a Trayvon Martin or a George Floyd, and we get all fired up, and we I'm saying like that, and we hit the street and we hit the pavement. And I'm not saying you don't do any of that, but then something dies down, or some other news come, I'm saying like that, some other news come or something else shows up, and it seems like we tend to be more reactive than responding. So what it looks like, again, I'm just sharing my thought, is like we are ambulance chasers. You know what I'm saying? We just chasing. And then the follow through, what I'm saying, it is, to sustain it. Do you guys feel like that? Do you see what I'm seeing, or am I way in left field?
I'm going to say,
Sylvia, what's your thought?
My thought is you're correct. As someone, I believe it's Mo, someone before him, or Taco, was stating that, you see all the Facebook posts, you see all the Instagram posts, but we are so in the now, as we're as I call them, bandwagoners. We hop on the train because it's hot right now. But in reality, when a couple of months or a couple of weeks go by, we don't really care because something else grab our attention. So if we take that same energy that we have while the fire is hot and continue that, meaning get out there and vote, educate yourself, as Jessica was saying, local and state government matters the most. So educating yourself on these things matters. Going to your town hall meetings matter. You know, not just waiting until that ballot comes and you vote and you wondering who are these people, not because their names sound black, but you actually know what they stand for. Like, you have to immerse yourself in the politics of everyday life, because it doesn't matter what you say or what you do until you change the narrative. That's the only way these things are not going to occur anymore. So get out there and vote and change the narrative. Be the change you want to see in your community.
Wow. Raina, I see you. What is your thought? Okay, thank you. So where do you guys see America from? You know, and let me say this: not only vote, but I have something going across the screen that says type the word demand to the number, and there's a number there. Okay, so it's coming across the screen. I want you guys all to just take your phone out and just type the word demand to the number 55156. Just type the word demand, or you can also type the word Floyd to the number 55156. So we are in an election year. I'm going to switch a little because the reality is we're still dealing with COVID-19. Mo, let me ask you first, and then I'm coming to Jessica, and everybody else can chime in. What is your take on this COVID-19 pandemic? OJ, I see Sylvia has her face. Mo, what do you? What? Yes, sir. Mm.
So I think those are the things that we're seeing that's going on right now. If you look everywhere, there's an overpopulation of things, But I think also somewhere along the line, someone thought, okay, well, we can also capitalize off this as well. But in the midst of things, to be honest with you, I'm
Right.
kind of grateful for COVID-19. Now, let me just say this: I'm not grateful for the deaths and the things that came along with it. But in all actuality, when I sat down and I thought about it, I said, you know what? COVID was actually a blessing, because it actually gave me a chance to actually just sit down and just really internalize everything that's going on around me. Now I'm in a position where I can think a little bit more clear to grab every opportunity that comes my way, especially with your tutelage, Dr. Jazz. Have you been preaching to us, with the young adult ministry, and I just think that the universe is just giving the chance for the young adults to step in position and gain a good foot in the ground, so we can go ahead and have a good platform to spring on. So that's just how I feel about COVID-19. And I'm in it for as long as it lasts, because I know it doesn't slow anything down. We just gear up, and when it's time to go, we go.
Yeah. This is going to be a tough question. I guess who can chime in, and those of you who are not on the screen, I can still hear you. So share and tell everybody, how do you Oh God, this isn't good. How do you reconcile, Jessica, Mo, Kevin, Chantel? How do you reconcile being a Christian and I hear people saying, "Oh, Christians are soft," they're punk, and some, they have this battle between King and Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? And we have this image of this Jesus with blonde hair, blue eyes, like he's scared to break a nails. And little do we know that Jesus, first of all, is not anything that they paint.
Mhm.
He's a radical revolutionary. And so, people say, oh, Christians always just pray, but no protest. And I tell people, I do 3 things. I cry, I cuss, and I stay in my house so I don't cut nobody.
Mhm.
That's my 3 C's. Since I saw what happened with George Floyd, I have cried, I have cussed, and they have been out. I haven't been out because let me tell you, I don't have the strength to march peacefully because to sit at a counter. I remember those movies and they spit in my face. I know Dr. King and Rosa Parks will put me out of the movement. I'm from Trinidad. My first response is, what? This is war. You know what I'm saying? So how do you guys manage that as Christians? Chantel, then Jessica.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jessica?
So I think it's hard because, and I honestly think that Christians have it harder because you have to pray your way through to keep your temper down and keep your your anger to a respectable amount. But I also think on the other side that if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So you have to still stand. You still have to do whatever you can to push for change. And you have to be, like Sylvia said, you have to like be the change maker. And even if I don't think that's something that one person can do, especially when it comes to this difficult situation, when it comes to racism and things like that. But as far as it's very hard. The line is, to me, the line is thin because, you want to stay within your Christianity, but you also everyone gets mad. Everybody gets emotional. But I think it's just definitely a time of, evaluating what you can do. And then in certain cases, like even when you have like a certain profession that, people get fired for certain things that they say. So you also have to kind of walk that line of how far do I go to where if for me, like I work for the government. So of course I know there are certain things that I can't say about leadership. So, or the president or things like that. So it's a fine line, but I also think that if you just sit back and stay in the background and complain or even just silence, then I think you once again you're part of the problem.
Wow. Kev?
Yeah, I'm gonna say I echo both of those things that Jessica and Mo said. I think it's a constant battle of self-awareness within yourself every day, with trying to remember. And I know I've said this on multiple times that as a Christian, we always want to make sure we're carrying ourselves and we're modeling ourselves like Christ. Like, so it's always thinking, what would Jesus do in a situation like this? But also remembering the humanistic piece of it. I'm also human. I can have these emotions. I just got to make sure that I execute them in a way that it doesn't devalue the relationship that I have with Christ and everything. And so I think it's that self-awareness, always connecting yourself and making sure you're being fed positive by people who think like you and want to see things change. So that's checking in with your fellow brother, your fellow man, your pastor. You've been a great resource to us, and you always try to put us in the right direction of someone else if you're not able to take us to that next level. So I think it's always that, and just making sure we're you're constantly pouring good things into your spirit too. Because yes, I could sit and look at the news all day, but I choose not to. I mean, that's not going to help the situation. So just like Jessica was saying, we got to find a way to be a part of the solution. But it's good to sometimes just take a step back and just kind of internalize everything and really think about what you want to say, and then use your platform. And I know for me, that's something that I do. I try not to be too quick to post something on Facebook or Instagram when a situation comes up. But when I think about it and something really deep and profound, or I think needs to be said, I'll put it out there, and I'll try to put a disclaimer, because I want it to be known, like, I'm coming from a good place. I love everybody. But I feel like, what needs to be said is, if you're not a part of the movement and you're against everything that's going on, me and you can't be friends, and that's okay. You can unfollow me, you can unfriend me, you can keep it moving. I'm good, because what I'm not going to do is diminish my Christianity, nor am I going to step outside of the man that I want to be to make you feel good, or because your opinion matters to you. But it's okay for us not to think and agree on the same things, but we have to be respectful.
Oh gosh, that's a mouthful. So you brought up something. At this season, are you guys drawing line in the sand? Are you separating the sheep from the goats? That means, hey, if y'all ain't rolling with us, oh, I see Sylvia. Let me unmute Sylvia. Sylvia, what are you saying, Sylvia? Yeah. Mo, you join? Are y'all join? Are you feeling like there's a draw line in the sand at this stage? Y'all either with us, or the Lord says to the man, Joshua said, hey, are you with us, or are you for us, or are you against us? Are y'all join line?
I think that we always had a line, to be honest. I think now it's just shedding light to it. And going back to, what you said about Christianity, I honestly think Christ was no punk. I just think they just left those parts out in the Bible because they know if people read them, especially people like me, they know what type of, what outlash and what attitude they would get. I think it's actually a sin for you to kind of just not be in a position where you can't exercise your First Amendment, which is the freedom of speech. That's why I have a mouth. I have a mouth to talk, But then, if situations like this happen, I just sit down and cross my hands and, act like I'm afraid to lose my life, then what's the point of me having a life,
Wow. Macy, what's your thought? The shortest verse in the Bible is Jesus wept. And that shortest verse in the Bible where Jesus wept was over Lazarus' death. And I said this morning that Jesus weeps over the things that we don't even weep over. Right. That is the loss of a George Floyd, a Trayvon Martin. And so it hurts. It hurts him. And there's a scripture I read. I know y'all don't come on at 6:30 in the morning. It says, from my earliest youth, my enemies have persecuted me. From my earliest youth, my enemies have persecuted me, but they have never been able to finish me off. And I think one of the things that agitate and angers the system is, with all of the stuff they have done to us, they have never been able to finish us off. And that adds insult to injury, because we're such a strong people. What do you think, Macy and Chantel? Hold on, I got you on mute. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, we are, Dr. Jazz, a strong group of individuals. We've been through so much, from slavery, Jim Crow. We've been through a lot. I'm like you, to be able to sit in and sit down and be spat at and cussed at and have some of everything else done to me and continue to be able to stand. Yes. We just proven, over centuries that we are just a strong group of individuals, that we're strong in mind, we're strong in spirit, we're strong in heart, we're strong physically. And I think that they're upset because we are strong in all of those areas. We, again, because we have been through so much, You know, we're resilient. We're very resilient, you know, and so, you know, there's nothing, you know, you can probably crush our spirit or crush us physically, but you can't crush our spirit per se, because we'll continue to go on. We'll continue to fight. You know, we'll continue to do the things that we have to do in order to make it and in order to survive. And so I think that's just the proof in the pudding, really.
Chantel.
So when I hear that scripture, I think about power and how they don't have the power to finish us all. So you know, we all have the power to just, you know, do what we need to do, take care of our homes, our families, our kids, our boys, if you're raising boys. And even with voting, take care of, you know, make sure that all of those things are priority. And it goes back to just creating a foundation in our house. So now we all have to, parents, the new generation. I'm 36, and I have an 11-year-old son. So you know, we have to make sure that we don't leave it up to the schools, because they took out history. You know, they really took that out. So we have to teach them at home. You know, just lay a foundation for them. But that scripture is so powerful, because I think about, they don't have the power to touch us. Just like Psalms 91, you know, like it's gonna pass over us. So I can be the person like you, Pastor, and you all would probably have never have seen me, but I'm 0 to 100. I am a natural born fighter. I'm not even gonna lie. So I'm just very, very humble. So when you talk about a little thug, I got a little thug, a lot of thug, you know, in me, but I'm just very humble. My life has changed. I've created a balance where I have learned to balance my emotion and my action. And I know how to have wisdom, and I pray for that. I think that's what we all need to do in this season. Just pray for wisdom. Let's be active. You know, it starts within us. I know for me, I'm gonna get a lot more involved with what's going on. And some new activists that we can follow is like T.I., you know, Killer Will. You have Sean King. All of these people, go follow NAWACP, color of, I think it's color of
Yeah.
change, color of
Yep.
change,
I
all of
love
those
change.
things. And let's get involved. You know what I mean? Let's take this serious, because we are the generation. We are now, and we have to do something, because I know. I mean, I know I have to. I have a son, and it scares me to death to see what I saw and witnessed. It's a very scary thing. But that's all I have for that.
Well, everybody, I've been talking to these amazing young adults. I'm going to bring them on one by one. They're going to give you their social media handle. Of course, Chantel is the baddest hairstylist. When y'all see my hair looking, it's all because of Chantel. She got an amazing line of products. Chantel, give them your handle so they can follow you.
Yeah, so on Facebook, I'm Chantel Long. On IG is at Shan's Hands Hair Studio. So yeah, you can find me there, or I am Shan's Hands.
Yep, and you have an amazing different products. Y'all check her out. She's in the DMV. All right, Mo, tell us what your handle.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Well, Dr. Jazz, you know, I haven't really been on a social media platform. I took a long needed hiatus, you know, because just at one point it was overwhelming. But if you do want to connect with me, I am on LinkedIn. It's my first name, Mamadou, and my last name, Issei. If you just type it in and search, you know, my profile will come up. And, you know, you can catch me there or catch me on Zoom Sunday morning, Victory for Life class, wherever. Let's build. Let's take it from there.
Thanks, Mo. And Mo, you doing life coach, right? You're a life coach?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. If you're looking for one, all right, Kev, tell them where they can find you, your social media handle, and your
Yes.
you just dropped out there.
So yes, you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Dr. Professor _X. The F is a 5. So you can find me there, or you can find me also on Facebook, Kevin Turner, or I'm always on Zoom too as well. Or I also use Twitter as well. But let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, there we go. My Twitter handle is I am Kevin John at I am Kevin John. So I am KEVNJON. So
Yeah, and your business is you're doing administrator. Tell
So
them
I'm
what.
doing some administrative work right now. So I'm doing some virtual assistant. So that's my business right now.
If you need a great virtual assistant, there is Jessica. Tell them how they can track you down. Wait. I'm coming to get you. Okay, Jessica, tell them.
Okay, yeah. So on Facebook and LinkedIn, also, like Mo said, is my handle is Jessica Lacey, Lacey. So I also have Instagram. Never really go on there, but my name's the same on there as well.
Fantastic. And Jessica, y'all, she handles our food drive, our food distribution every Saturday, right, Jessica?
Yes, every Saturday from 11 to we're out there from 11 to 12 for pickup. So if you know anyone in need, if you're in need yourself, then come to the Empowerment Center in in Landover. Some people call it Largo. I don't know which one comes up on the GPS, but it's at the 403 Bright Seed Road.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jessica. Sylvia, our future county lawyer, attorney, girl. We're going to need you in 5 years from now. Tell us how we can track you down.
Yes, you can catch me at Sylvia Smith _Judge Smith on Facebook and on IG Real Sylv. That's REALSYLV 121 on Instagram and Twitter. Sylvia Smith on Twitter as well. So thank you, Dr. Jazz.
You're welcome. All right, Macy. All right, tell them how they can get a hold of you.
Dr. Jazz, I'm on Facebook, Best Care Connect, BESTCARCONNECT. I'm on as well Instagram, Best Care Connect, LinkedIn, Best Care Connect, and I have a website, bestcareconnect.com. I am an advocate and a consultant for people who have special needs.
Wow. Wow. Special. Oh gosh, that is so great. And y'all think we all thugs. What are they thinking about? Raina, tell them how they can get a hold of you.
Thank you, Dr. J.
You're welcome. Wait a minute, Raina, let me unmute you. All right, tell them how they can get a hold of you on Facebook, Instagram.
Yes, Raina Taylor on Facebook, Minnie Chablis on Instagram, and now also My Gone Wild on Anchor, my podcast.
Oh, fantastic. Did I leave out anybody? I don't think I left out anybody. Let me make sure. I think I got everybody. Hey, everybody, it takes 3 things to succeed in life. It takes a great vision. It takes a great team. And my goodness, it not only takes a great team, it also takes resources. And I'm thankful to God that I've had the awesome privilege of connecting with these amazing young adults in my church. And we get together every Sunday at 5:00. And Chantel is our servant leader over our young adults ministry. Mo is her assistant. And so you can join us every Sunday at 5:00. Kevin handles our Zoom church, and we're looking for some technical people. You want to check us out, we'll put it all in the chat. But you know one thing I love about you guys? I must have texted them like at 4:45. Okay, we going live. Let's have this conversation. And I dropped it in the chat, and they were rocking and rolling. That's what this generation is all about. If I had told a 55-year-old, they still be trying to download the app.
That's true.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank God for these things. They're the most powerful thing. So I want y'all to do it in 2 ways. Number 1, I want you guys to register to vote. And number 2, I want you to type the word demand to the number 55156. Demand 55156. And I'm so honored that God, I don't have a pulpit no more, but I have a platform. And I'm so grateful for each one of you guys for joining us on the platform. Chantel, tell us at what age is the young adults and how can they send, to get invited to the young adult 5:00 thing?
Awesome. So the young adult ages start from 21 to up to 40 years old. You can send an email to YAM, that's YAM, @victorygatecenter.org.
Fantastic. We're talking about money. Some people got to have it. Y'all know it. Money makes the world go round
Around.
and round.
Round.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Goodbye. God bless y'all. Good night, John Boy. Good night, Mary Allen. Thanks, y'all. God bless y'all. The rebroadcast will be on my social media, Facebook. Of course, y'all know I am Dr. Jazz. 114,000 people are already have tuned in. 10,000 is going to be on YouTube. It's all over everywhere. So hopefully y'all have paid your parking ticket. Because if not, I don't know what. See y'all later. God bless.